I'd also mentioned, and this really is not something that's new to Spring13, but I think it is absolutely worth noting, is that from within the CI record or even from the incident, if the asset that is in question or that is linked to the record is in or is managed by the Footprints asset core, I can see things like detailed information about what the hardware and software is on this machine, license units that might be associated with it, those types of things. And it's not just being able to see that inventory information, but I can establish a remote control session. I can view the file system, the registry. I can even do an on-demand inventory. So if I want to audit now or transfer a file, I have those capabilities right from within Remedyforce, and I can spawn that off in the Footprints Asset Core product. So a number of improvements to the CMDB. Another thing, the administrative console. Again, in my mind, this is one of the things I've most been waiting for within the Spring13 release. And so right here, we can see a single console for all administrative things, whether the administrative function is actually being performed as part of the Force.com platform or it's a Remedyforce element. And so as an example, if we look at application settings, one of two things. I can click here and just see a quick drop down, or I can click on the tile, and that tile allows me to see everything. Now, the items that have the plus next to it, these are items that are taken care of from the Force.com platform. So, for example, if I click on this custom settings, notice that it's taking me to Force.com. Whereas if I were to click on some of these other things like general application settings, these are going to be things that previously you would have seen under system administration within Remedyforce. So again, a nice single interface for all administrative capabilities. Well, I say all. I'd say 95%. There are still just a couple of things that BMC ran out of time on that are not part of this console, but 95% of everything that you need to do at this point in time is all included here. The other remaining things, specifically service level agreements, you can access that through the other tabs as you have traditionally been able to do that. So these are all enhancements that were really surrounding productivity. So with that, let's now take a look at some of the ease of use things that BMC introduced to the product. So if we look here under ease of use, we have a service request list views and displaying more detailed information. And quite frankly, most of the things that are listed here are going to be related to self-service. Not to say that the incident console wasn't a form of ease of use functionality that was added to the product, but really these particular items are surrounding the self-service. We have suggested service request and knowledge articles to the end users, rich text support from more visibility in the service request. So again, allowing us to really dress up the service request article or the support request articles that we might have within Remedyforce. And also self-service attachments and type-ahead functionality. And when I say self-service attachments, we've always had the capability of adding attachments to self-service records, but the difference being is you can now add those attachments before you actually save the record. And that's always been a thing that SDE, because this is kind of a carryover from SDE that the SDE customers struggled with, and the first few versions of Remedyforce, and I'm glad to say that's now been addressed. So with that, let's just get out of here, and now let's take a look at Remedyforce from a self-service perspective. So again, the UI, you'll notice that it has absolutely been updated. You do have flexibility and capability of determining which tiles appear and the order in which those tiles appear. So a lot of flexibility in that regard. But if we look at this, so again, we have these tiles that I'll come back to in just a moment. But over here on the right-hand side, we also have common tickets. We have popular self-service articles. So these are, a dynamic list of knowledge articles that will bubble towards the top or drop out of this list based upon feedback and usage. We also have these common service requests. So these are different things like, I'm a new employee, or I've got a new employee starting and I want to get them set up, or I need a new tablet, that type of thing. So as we look at these different tiles on the left-hand side, for example, if I wanted to just simply create an incident, well, I can do that and click on the tile, and that brings up this new tab. So again, everything stays self-contained in this single tab within the browser. But at this point, I could obviously type in my issue. But I think the real thing to show here is that if I wanted to attach any type of supporting documentation, I can do that. And I'm just going to pull something here. I don't know. Let's see, that was a shortcut, so let's see if that attaches. But at this point, I can attach the file before I save the record, and that's the point I want to make. And I should also point out that the category tree, and I am going to go back and show you this from a staff perspective, but when you're registering a new incident or from self-service, you now see the categories in this tree structure, where that has been something that traditionally you can only see a recently viewed list, and at this point we can see those categories and expand the areas and so forth. Okay. So if we go back to the home page, here again, another tab that I can launch the different service requests. So this allows me to go through, so under, for example, telecommunications, right? I can expand that, mobile devices, and at that point, or under hardware, I can expand tablets, and I can see that service request that's related to a tablet. So if your customer didn't select it here under the common service request, they could always go through and browse your category tree and see what service requests are available for your different categories. And then view tickets and requests. This is basically allowing the customer to see all of their open incidents or incidents that are associated to their account, and we allow them to search as we traditionally have been able, that customers have been able to do. Now, some new functionality aside from this UI, one of which is and then here we have our knowledge base, but new functionality allowing individuals to participate in an approval process from self-service. So that's quite a nice feature. Here I'm logged in as Peter Campbell. I'm actually going to jump over here to my IE browser now that I'm Don Draper. Don has quite a few more approvals because after all, Pete reports to him, right? So at this point, we can see these different records, and Don can actually approve these requests right from within the self-service page. So they don't have to do that necessarily through Chatter, which they can. They don't have to do that through email. They don't have to log into the staff portal either. Okay? Now, some other new features. Previously, the only way that you were able to access Chatter, so for those of you that are looking for collaboration tools, want to allow your organization to chat amongst themselves and in between staffs and so forth, we have embedded Chatter into this into the self-service page. Now, aside from doing that, another really nice feature is we now allow incidents to be created from Chatter. So, for example, I might say, I'm logged in as Don. My email is, and actually, let's do it this way. So we're going to say hashtag email is running slow, whatever else I might want to say, and then I'm going to share this. Well, this hashtag email is something that will actually, I've configured the system to look for that hashtag email, and if it sees that, then it will create an incident. And you can see actually here that incident 365 has been created, and here's a link to that incident. So you do have the ability to now create incidents through email, and if you've got, for example, Chatter Desktop, then you can use that as well as a form of creating incidents. So you don't even have to be in the self-service page at that point. You can just, from the Chatter Desktop application or from your mobile device, you could create an incident that way. All right. So that's Chatter, and I've actually logged back over here to Peter Campbell. And if we look here, so there's Don creating this incident, and the reason I'm seeing this is because I follow Don. He's my manager, and you know what? If I'm having the same issue, I might like this and that type of thing. So again, some nice capability in that regard. And then the last thing is the contact us here. Again, you may wish to use this, you may not, but frankly, I don't see a tremendous value here, but it's still just one more avenue that your customers have to communicate with you. So here they could type in a subject line, type in a message, and it would send an email to whomever you've defined for that if you wanted to use this Contact Us tab. So again, a lot of new capabilities here from a self-service perspective, and that's all making it an easier experience for the customer. Before I move away from this and move on to the next area, which will be collaboration, and I've actually already talked about some of these things, I do want to jump back over here to the administrative side, and I want to show you a couple of things. So first of all, this Chatter listener. Here, it's really very easy to create these listeners. So I'm going to show you, for example, my email listener. Basically, hashtag email, or if I wanted to do, for example, exchange, okay, so I could say hashtag exchange. Either of these two things would create an incident if I did hashtag email or hashmail exchange in the Chatter feed. So it's really that simple to configure that. Also, we talked about a feature earlier called the suggested owners. So real quickly, would you configure something like this? And again, this is all accessible from the single administrative console, but under suggested owners, I've got an an exchange assignment. So if the category is equal to exchange, and I can have multiple conditions, at that point, who do I want to assign, or who would I suggest that this incident be assigned to? And I can specify staff members or specific queues. So queues would be your teams or groups within your support organization, and it's really that simple. And as you can see, you might even configure multiple queues to be part of those suggested owners. And again, that suggested owner is all accessible from the incident console when we go here to suggested owners. Okay. All right. Moving on to collaboration, let's take a quick look at that. So let's just expand this here. So manage approvals through self-service. We actually saw this while we were taking a look at the self-service. So any approval records, now we have the option of approving a record in a process through email. We can do that through the self-service interface now, so that's the new functionality, as well as we can approve records through Chatter, and then obviously as a staff member you can approve records. So really we're giving you multiple avenues to stay in contact, stay up to date with what's going on within the organization, and in keeping the service delivery moving. Instantly view confirmation and incident numbers in self-service. So as I register that incident, I get a confirmation that this is a record that has been created and this is the number. Just one of those little things that were lacking, but has been added. The ability to see additional record information, such as show the owners and the attachments. So if you wish to allow your customers to see who has ownership of the record, you can do so. And then the attachments, we talked about how you'd have the ability of attaching records before saving the incident to and seeing those. New self-service interface. Again, that's the tile format that we've seen, and then the hashtag technology that has also been added.